Hey guys, Dreklo here, bringing you a different video than normal. Normally I do montages and shorts, and speaking of montages, my last one, Archfiend, was just dropped, featuring original music composed by Fudge. So I will drop a link in the description and also put something on the screen somewhere right here for you guys to click on. Definitely recommend it, it's awesome. Anyways, this video is going to be about 128 Conquest and why I think it's my favorite mode and potentially the best mode in the game, contrary to what a lot of people think or say about it. And that is mainly for a few different reasons. Primarily, the first reason is Sundance. I think, like a lot of specialists in the game, some of them don't have a place in certain modes, but her place is most certainly in Conquest. She quite literally transforms the entire game. She is basically a jet, and that's huge. And the game has a lot of running simulator elements. I'm not going to deny that. The game is not perfect. I think a lot of us know that. However, Sundance is a very unique character, and there's no other game besides maybe Just Cause 4 and I guess the whatever Fortnite ripped off of this game already, to have a first-person shooter experience in a wingsuit. The last thing I know about that was in Black Ops 4's Battle Royale Blackout, when that was just a wingsuit bug, and I loved it. But getting from point to point is so convenient as Sundance in this game, and it really adds to the sandbox nature that I love from Battlefield, and it really complements these maps, although they're huge. Another pivotal point for me in 128 Conquest is to start off every round in a vehicle, preferably. And usually I like to spawn on the Russians, I like to use the Kokum. Ground vehicles are great, but the Russian attack helicopter I think has the most abilities to get across the map, capture some points, get a bunch of quick kills if potentially possible, takes down some enemy vehicles, help clear the space for your teammates, let them get to points to capture. If I'm spawning on the Americans, I like to spawn Nightbird, pick up my squad mates, pick up some friendly teammates from the very beginning of the map so they don't have to run across the map, get them to different points to capture those points, secure them, and have them available to spawn on. And I think it's pretty massive. Going from there, I usually get around 50 to 70 kills per match in Conquest, which is pretty huge. But even just playing as Sundance with a really good infantry setup, you can kind of do the same thing too. Also, shout out to Devin Guy on Twitch for really helping me with Sundance. He's actually a T1 Sundance, which is nuts. Having a Tier 1 Sundance throw out some tips is huge. Definitely check him out. But when it comes to Sundance, her main drawback isn't her nades, it's her wingsuit. Like I said, you become a jet. So controlling maps using her wingsuit is absolutely huge. From here, I start off on Orbital on B1, so you want to really control those high level points on Conquest maps like B1. And basically, when you spawn at those points, you will have somewhere to go every single time very fast. I went straight from B1 down to D2, there's tons of enemies here. Not every angle is going to be safe because I'm on top of a rooftop, so death is inevitable. And that's just kind of how Conquest is because there's so many different angles. But when you get a good flow going and you start to know where to spawn and where to play at, it's pretty massive. Another reason to use, or another thing I like to use in Conquest is the Recoilless M5. I think playing as Sundance with the Recoilless M5 is huge for saving yourself from vehicles and also to take down any vehicles that might be harassing your team and yourself. There's a lot to be done with the Recoilless M5 when it comes to countering vehicles. So that's pretty massive. If you have squad mates who are able to throw you some ammo or health, that's even better. But you can traverse so much ground so fast with Sundance's mechanics and with her M5. And it just adds so much to the game, in my opinion. In other Battlefield, with other specialists, I should say, in this game, the only other one I might use is McKay for his grapple and traversal, but it's still going to be running simulator with McKay. The only other one I might use out of that is Angel because of what he offers, but even then, I still would always choose Sundance because of just how much distance she can cross so fast and how unique her playstyle really is. Another huge thing I do right now in Conquest when I'm playing is I really try to focus on different points. So in Breakaway, I like to play near point A. Usually there's always fights at sectors A. 1 through 3 usually always has a lot of fighting going on, and you can really kind of get a good feel for these maps in these points. And I like to also use the AC-42 when I do play. You can do insane amounts of damage at crazy ranges with the AC-42. I specifically use single shot with the high-powered rounds and a moving grip for moving accuracy with the Warhawk compensator. I think it's a really good setup. The 39 round mag is also great to have as well, because there are moments where you're going to run out of ammo. But just in case you like the high powered rounds like I do, you always have your trusty Glock on the side available to go in that burst with a 30 round drum mag, which is always really clutch. And the hipfire laser, which I forget to turn on, is also huge as well. But with Sundance on different maps like Renewal, you have these little scaffolds of these moving irrigation systems that you can kind of utilize her bunny hopping, closing of the wingsuit and reopening mechanics that just cross amazing gaps and get to really good flanks. In Breakthrough, you kind of always are at a spot where you're always surrounded by enemies. You don't feel like you can do too much, and it gets pretty overwhelming. And I think that has to do a lot with the fact that the maps are just not designed for Breakthrough. They're designed for, from what I understand, potentially for Battle Royale, which would mean that the best way to probably play these maps is in that fashion of open sandbox environment. So I think that's, Conquest is really where it's at. And it also depends on the maps. Battlefield 1, Breakthrough was the play. Operations was the play because the maps are designed like that. Bad Company 2, the maps are designed for rush a lot of the times, or at least they made rush maps. So if I'm playing Hourglass, I like to stick towards sectors A and usually sector D and B. There's usually some really awesome infantry gameplay over here. You can also spawn on top of B1 on this map and go from, not B1, E1, and come from E1 and just fly across the map and get to good spots to flank very, very fast, and it's very convenient. And Manifest, I like to chill around sectors B, but, really, when you know where the fighting is and you know what points you have to start attacking, you can do a lot. On Discarded, I like to play around the ship, which is sectors D and C. Usually a lot of good cover here for infantry, and you can also get some really awesome infantry fights and flanks. Another gun I like to use a lot is the SFAR. Unfortunately, it's kind of bugged right now because the SFAR is, I guess when you spawn in a vehicle with a grenade launcher, doesn't work too well, but using Sundance with the Recoilless M5 and the armor-piercing grenade launcher of the SFAR is just insane. You can counter vehicles in ways that really, when they start harassing you, they can't really do too much. But going back to the kind of idea of where to play out the maps. On Hourglass, like I said, I like the stadium. When it comes down to making sure I'm effective at points like the stadium and other infantry-oriented sectors on the maps, a lot of that has to do with positioning and where I put myself. And I've actually watched and do watch a lot of EXO, Enders, and Catalyst HD, and their playstyles have really helped me figure out what I need to do better. I have been watching them since Battlefield 5, and they really showed me different methods when it comes to positioning and how to outplay certain individuals. Really good stuff on that end, because positioning in Battlefield is literally everything. Death is always inevitable, but knowing where to place your cursor, knowing where to go in and out from, knowing how to maximize the movement abilities is really important, because this game has some movement that you just don't get in other games, except for maybe Apex with the slide jump, and the ability to bunny hop around corners, and the lack of suppression makes it so you can actually get some really good shots off on people that you wouldn't normally be able to get off in games since before Battlefield 3, which introduced the suppression system. But again, here is Manifest. I really like to play towards point B on Manifest and just kind of slowly creep up on enemies, know where I'm going to be positioning myself, know where they're kind of coming from, making sure there's somewhere to get to cover and to evade, and also just always kind of taking high ground and playing carefully with my head. Where I put my head in my body is crucial to how this is going to happen. Another huge thing to do is to play around zip lines. In Apex Legends, there's a mechanic where if you run at a zip line, you push E to get on it, and then you jump off of it going in a straight line, you'll take all that momentum with you. You can do that here too. I'm not really doing it too much in this video, but you still are getting, or this segment, but you're still getting the idea of how I'm maneuvering with these zip lines, because utilizing zip lines for not just height, but just to get around enemies, they don't really understand how to play with you sometimes. Sometimes they can't track you, they can't figure you out, but it's crucial. So again, when it comes to Discarded, I really like playing around these ships. When it comes to Breakaway, I like Sector A's. The oil rig is also awesome for fights as well. Sector A and B on Breakaway. When it comes to Orbital, I really like to play around sectors D and C, and of course the rooftop at B. When it comes to maps like Renewal, I really like playing around sectors D, C, and A. Sometimes E as well, but there's a lot to do at D, C, and A, and usually there's always fights there. On Hourglass, I really enjoy the stadium, like I was saying. On Kaleidoscope, I also really enjoy playing around sectors D, B, and E. There's usually a lot of good fights there. Anyways, check out the montage as well. I'll be putting a link to that right around here. Thank you guys very much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed. Subscribe or like it if you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys soon for the next one.